you. I am an artist. I am a father. I am a husband. I am a creator. I'm very many things. I wear many hats, but I would be nothing without mentorship. I was a mentee. I am a mentor. When I was a young person, well, at a very early age, I lost my father. My father was murdered when I was around 2 years old. And then I lost my mother at 15 or 16. My mother was murdered. And there was someone who saw something in me and who, within whom I also saw something. I guess we saw ourselves in one another. And he became my mentor. His name was Arthur Price. He's going on to leave Philadelphia to relocate to Alabama, where he's the pastor of the legendary 16th Street Baptist Church. But when he was a young person, and I was a young person, he helped me to get through some really tough times and some crossroads in my life. But it wasn't only him. I was fortunate enough to grow up with a generous, God-fearing, sharp, very witty grandmother named Minnie, or Mom Minnie, as she was known to very many of the people in the community that she mentored and whose lives she changed. She was also known as Spike by some of her siblings and some of the people that she came up with. We won't go into how she got that name. But in her 86 years on this earth, she lived through, quite a few different eras in her city of Philadelphia, and she was always keen to share her opinions and her findings. She would say things like, "A hard head makes a soft behind," or good manners will take you further in life than money ever will. And a whole, host of other sayings that I'm sure you've probably heard before. But, this one thing that, she practiced more than she preached was the fact that it takes a village to raise a child. And though, she only had one biological child, she accepted many of the responsibilities involved with raising countless other children. As many of us can remember, the politics and the changes of the 1980s and 90s reinforced the power of the community. And the team whose work makes the proverbial dream work. During this time, as people from all over can probably remember, folks were pouring into urban cities, thanks in part to new immigration laws, and we watched neighborhoods organically born out of shared cultural norms, or in some cases, cultural differences. The first generation American children took the stories and sounds and sensibilities of their homeland and blended it into entirely different new movements. As where we were given whole new art forms like hip hop. We saw the crack epidemic demolish family structures, forcing multiple generations of friends, neighbors, and family to step in and to raise children abandoned or sometimes neglected or just underserviced by parents who struggle with addiction. I was one of those children. Between that and the reduction or the lack thereof of certain social services, the rise of organizations like this one provided some of what little assistance low-income children who felt forgotten by a government that didn't deem them worthy of support would receive. Those of you from my generation or older saw firsthand in moments like these the power of the village. And a village can be many things, mainly a circle of people you trust to not only help raise a child through like-minded moral teachings and shared values, but you're able to also assist each other with support. In many ways, it is an extension of the idea that every person you encounter has a piece of the puzzle that is you inside of them. And you have to patiently seek to understand how what they have to offer can enlighten you. In our chosen villages, we've already seen ourselves and those around us, sometimes a better version of ourselves. maybe a glimmer of who we actually want to be. And when someone looks at that, then they're able to better understand who we are or who we want to be or who our children will become. The possibilities that lie ahead of us and the potential of what the entirety of our puzzle can look like. The mentorship is that too. But the creation of an extended family that isn't necessarily blood, which generally seeks out, to individuals, to create an extended family, right? Somehow to fill the gaps in knowledge, in exposure, in storytelling that opens up young eyes to new worlds. If it takes a village to raise a child, then mentorship is one of the profound pillars situated on top of the foundation poured by us as parents, as family, and as elders. We become mentors because we can offer our mentees knowledge or access that is outside of their family's grasp. We can reach back and hand over the lessons that we've learned in our travels and in our growth, our evolution, to someone else walking a similar path in order to keep them safe from some of the same pitfalls that we may have faced. The mentorship is a responsibility, yes, but to whom much is given, much is expected. So we work tirelessly to form our places in this world, and mentorship is a way for us to make sure that the next generation is gracefully passed the baton, to potentially go further than we have. But it's not only the expansion of a village, it's the addition of a new one, often for both people, the mentor and the mentee. How often have we learned something new about ourselves or about this world from our mentees? Think about your children teaching you the latest TikTok thing or showing you, the crazy new viral trend, right? That awareness, it broadens your mind, even if it seems pointless at the time, because they're letting you into their world, giving you insight into, not only what's happening right now, but what matters to them, what's shaping their perspectives, what their worlds consist of, who and what are next. The mentees beg us to glimpse the world outside of our daily experience and to actually see and consider where this world is going. It is in recognizing the path of the world and our mentees' strength and working together to shift this planet that our mentees become intertwined in our legacies. Legacy is defined as a thing handed down by a predecessor. We have to look at our mentees and know that in many ways, they are an extension of our own birthrights. The evidence of how often we reach back and pull someone forward. What we think is possible made clear through the doors we're willing to open for them, and even what we hope the future looks like. The mentees we give back to are proof of our own vision and ability to see what our world will need in our sector, in our community, in our villages, in order to thrive far past when we've gone. Our work is to instill in them the wisdom needed to eventually commandeer this ship for themselves. They're with as much awareness of what has come before and what will lie ahead, if the patterns of this world continue to repeat. So many of us might have had a gap in the knowledge of our careers or chosen fields. That so many of us knew exactly who to call when we had those questions or concerns about which path to take. Either way, help is always needed. As the youth who will shape tomorrow seek to bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be, we must commit to giving them that help. That is our role. Thank you. That is our role, that is our responsibility, and that is what we must remember, that it takes a village to raise a child. So raise them we must, mentor them we must, because with every generation, it should get better. So may we give them the best of ourselves with the promise that they will be proof of how much better we believe the world can be, with them at the forefront, that we trust them to take the reins, because at the end of the day, they're our next best hope, and they're all we got. And this is the power of a village. I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for having me this evening. I want to give a special thanks to Sean Hudson for inviting me, and thanks to all the mentors, before me, and all the mentors in this program, and all the potential mentors, the mentors, of tomorrow, for your courage and your leadership and sacrifice. Thank you.